Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first winning Giant Take episode of the 2025 season. Alex, the Giants have one win so far this year, and it took until week 4. And honestly, I thought it was going to take even longer. I'm surprised we're hopping on this episode today after a win. Something that we don't say a lot, especially in the last 3 years on this show. And here we are on this podcast saying the Giants have won a football game. It all comes at the hands of the new quarterback, Jaxson Dart. We're going to get all into him. But first of all, on a winning Sunday evening, after having won the game and not being negatively affected on a Monday morning, how are you doing?
I never thought we were going to win again. So from that standpoint, doing quite well. Awesome that the Giants have finally gotten a win. And obviously they have the next game at New Orleans, who are not a great team either. So it feels like, they could string a couple of wins together. And that's a good feeling, I think, when you're a Giants fan, at least given what we saw the last 3 weeks. But a lot of positive signs from Jaxson Dart, a few negatives, of course, too. The defense definitely upped their game in this one, especially the defensive line, particularly the 4 guys up front. But overall, it was a much more cohesive unit, offense, defense, special teams. And that's why they were able to get a win against, to be honest, a very, very good team. Yes, the Joe Alt injury hurt them, but still a very, very good team with an excellent quarterback and a very strong defense that the Giants were able to get a win. So, no complaints. It definitely wasn't an easy win or expected whatsoever. So I am very pleased to see the level of effort and fight that went into this one when it seemed like players were starting to give up in week 3.
Alex, if you didn't know, Jaxson Dart made history today. He got a win. He ran for 50-plus yards and a touchdown. He threw a touchdown and had 0 interceptions. No other player has done that in his first career QB start, ever. Complete history for Jaxson Dart today. Who would have thought we would be saying that? I didn't even think that after the game ended with his stat line, but apparently he's the first QB to ever do such a thing. And you mentioned about the defense. This is not going to be like a normal where we kind of go back and forth of offense and then take a break and do defense, just because this was such a crazy game for them to win. For Carter, Burns, and Kayvon, all with 5 or more pressures, all at least tied for top 10 after week 4. I know there's Sunday and Monday night games, but still pretty phenomenal. I know it didn't really result in a lot of sacks in the actual statistical category of sacks, but it just felt like they were always pressuring Justin Herbert to rush a throw, to throw a ball out of bounds. That intentional grounding was big in this game as well. I think it was a really great job by the defense of the New York Giants.
Yeah, no, I think they were fantastic, especially going forward. Rushing the quarterback. I was thinking soccer there for a second, but they got a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert. They exposed the left tackle who came in, very much putting pressure, on that offensive line that was really in agony throughout most of the game. So I thought, it was a much better performance from Shane Bowen as a coordinator as well, because it felt like there was a plan. There was a game plan going into it. There was a way they wanted to approach it, and then taking advantage of things that were happening in the game. It was also good to see adjustments that were made even at halftime that you saw. And the secondary holding up a lot better. Drew Phillips had a much, much better game today than he did last week. Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott were mostly solid as well. So the secondary, which has been torn apart in recent weeks, also solidified themselves, which was a positive sign. Am I saying Shane Bowen is the greatest coordinator ever to coach the Giants? Absolutely not. He still has a lot of room for improvement, but it was a better day, in this one, and hopefully he continues that, because this defense has a lot of potential, and it was very unfortunate the first 3 weeks watching it kind of fall apart.
Alex, let's get into Jaxson Dart actually now. I talked about how he made history, but just what did you like out of him today? I thought that the moxie was certainly there. I mean, you saw it from that first drive when he kind of ran the offense, and he did it pretty successfully. I thought his throws were fine. I mean, he was finding open receivers. Sometimes he really struggled to do so. He ate a few sacks in this game, and I don't know if that's more on the play calling or the receivers not getting open due to how good the Chargers secondary was. But I think the Giants did end up getting sacked, and he did get sacked 6 times today. And he threw for just over 100 yards. So a very minimal offensive performance today, just 2 touchdowns by the Giants in today's game. And by the way, one of those was really set up from that interception that ended up with, by the way, 2 interceptions today. One of them by Dexter Lawrence, and then one of them was Drew Phillips, right? And he set them up within the red zone and set them up for that Theo Johnson shovel pass touchdown that you actually saw a pretty similar sight last night in the Penn State-Oregon game. They might have taken that right from it and used it today. So I think Jaxson Dart looked good. Again, very minimal in terms of passing wise. But I think we saw what everyone talked about, why they wanted him in terms of the mobility. He showed that. He showed his physicality. And at the end of the day, the Giants got the win, and it was mostly because of Jaxson Dart. Obviously, that defense held up a ton, but he got it done offensively for what he needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely ran a much more college-style offense, and you saw that very clearly in the way they were set up. Some of the formations we saw, it was very different. So I do think they catered to his needs. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of slightly go to a more NFL pro-style offense as the season progresses. But yeah, he was good. I would say the only thing he was struggling with is, he did take a couple sacks that probably weren't necessary, and he could have thrown the ball away. And then there were also a couple of throws outside the numbers that he seemed to struggle with accuracy-wise, especially a little bit down the field when he was trying to target Darius Slayton a couple of times. So I would say those were the couple of weaknesses, but besides that, it was a lot of positives. The creativity, working outside of the pocket. My favorite play I saw from him is directing traffic. He's scrambling outright. He's able to hit Darius Slayton, who was kind of on a go route, but he communicated with him to turn around, kind of a last minute kind of decision. And when plays break down, that's really where you're looking for your quarterback to make a play, right? That's the difference between great quarterbacks and average quarterbacks is, can they make a play under pressure? Can they make a play when everything has broken down? And I think Jaxson Dart did show a couple of those signs today, which I was happy to see.
Giants get a big win, 21-18. That's a big win because it's the start of a new era with Jaxson Dart. And you could even add the guy in the running back position that stepped in today in Cam Scadaboo. We're going to get to him. We're also going to talk. I don't even know how we have gone 8 minutes, Alex, without mentioning Malik Neighbors, who's probably out for the rest of the season. We'll get to all of that after this break.
Look, it's good to get a win. I'm happy for our players. I'm happy for our coaches. They put a lot of time and effort and energy into us. Jaxson has, all quarterbacks do. But, for a young player to come out here in his first game against a 3-0 team with Herbert as quarterback and the defense, the way they were playing, I think it says a lot about our guys. I think it says a lot about Six.
All right, welcome back. I teased it before the break. Cam Scadaboo, Alex, 25 carries today. Oh, my goodness. Cam Scadaboo caught the ball. And he certainly got a lot with the injury of Tyrone Tracy, who's going to be out now for the next month or so, I think. It's going to be the Cam Scadaboo show. The Cam Scadaboo and Jaxson Dart show, by the way. I feel like we saw the Giants media team and social media team specifically really hammer that home. They recorded a post-game video together. They've been heavily, promoted on the social medias that they're going with this kind of young core now of Jaxson Dart and Cam Scadaboo. Makes sense that you're both in the same draft class, but 25 carries, 79 yards, 3 yards a carry, which is not great, not horrible. Devin Singletary also stepped in, had 7 carries for 28 yards. There was that drive where he got the ball 3 straight times, and he had good gains, Singletary did. So I was happy with this rushing attack. In all, it was 42 carries, including Jaxson Dart snaps as well, for 161 yards, which averaged to about 4 yards per rush, and that ended up with a touchdown too from Dart early in the game. I think Cam Scadaboo, we've talked about him many times before. I've talked about how much I love that guy. Just never goes down, bullies his way through for as many yards as he can get. Even if it's a 1 or 2 yard gain, it looks like he's fighting his ass off for it. And he really shows it on the field, and he did so again today. I mean, 25 carries is absurd. I don't think we've seen numbers like that since Saquon was on the team.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a beast. The way he attacks defenders, almost literally, like it's really fun to watch. It's cool seeing him wear 44 as well, Josh. And I think he's a lot of fun, and he's going to be very effective this season, and hopefully for the next few years for the Giants. I think he's definitely a guy you want kind of another piece with. Like I don't think he's your 4 down or 3 down running back, but I do think when he does get the ball in his hands, and especially in short yardage situations, he is very, very effective, and he will always put in 110% effort, which I do really, really appreciate as a Giants fan who has watched players put in less than 100% effort at a lot of times in the past few years. But yeah, the running attack was very good, and the receiving game struggled. And I think that's mainly to do with the injury to Malik Neighbors. It looks like it's a torn ACL, and it's, I read on Twitter, like someone's like, the Giants have a curse, right? Like this good thing happens. Jaxson Dart's looking good. The defense is moving better. And now Malik Neighbors is most likely, I'd say probably 90% out for the remainder of this season. Really, really unfortunate. Obviously, he's such a special talent. And also, if you think about it, year 2 is always a huge leap year for receivers in terms of how they improve their games. And he was having a historic season already, and to see it end this early before we've even reached October is very, very upsetting. And obviously, we wish him the best recovery. And, we're looking forward to watching him next season. But still very, very frustrating to see. And the turf obviously has come to center stage once again.
It's always the MetLife turf is the problem. Regardless of that or not, it seems very, I hate to say this, Alex, very Odell Beckham-esque. If Malik Neighbors in his second year looking to do a lot of good, looking to do great, be one of the top receivers in this league, which I think already he's proved to be, and was on that trajectory again this season, was really connecting with Dart early on today, goes up for that one-on-one ball, but kind of slips beforehand. And it's got ACL written all over it for sure. And I mean, if Ian Rappaport's on it, if it's confirmed by Pelissero and Schefter and all the top reporters are on it, I have to expect it to be true with the MRI tomorrow or not. Those reporters are just too well versed in the industry to not know what they're talking about, and they wouldn't have reported it if they didn't have credible sources to help them with that. So it seems like for the remainder of the year, Malik Neighbors is also going to be out. And it was crazy because at one point, Jaxson Dart went into the medical tent on the sideline because he was being tested for a concussion right after, in the second half, after Malik Neighbors gets injured. And it was like, oh my God, are we going to lose Malik Neighbors and Jaxson Dart in the same game? Is this going to happen? So on the offensive side, you have your star tackle still kind of coming back and recovering from injury. Your starting running back is out. Your number 1 wide receiver is out. And you had a bench your starting quarterback for the backup because he was so bad after the first 3 weeks. Regardless of all of this, the Giants win the game today. And it's crazy because it's like that's all you want to think about, even though they're 1-3 and they really realistically don't have a chance whatsoever this season. They won a game, so you're happy about that. But Alex, even right when this game ended, as much as I was like, oh, let's go, they got a win. I mean, I wasn't super excited because, again, like doesn't really mean anything this year. But they got their first win. But the first thing I feel like I thought about was the future. I feel like I don't know how it doesn't cross your mind with Neighbors being out. You're thinking, okay, so for the rest of this year, like, what does that mean for Dart and his weapons that he's throwing to? Since Dable is putting him in to save his job, and you can tell how much Dable loved that after the game when he was headbutting Dart and slamming his chest and pumping him up. because Dable knows his contract just extended another week, right? So it's really tough to look forward now. Like I really don't know anymore with Neighbors out what this means with the progression of Dart in year one. With now that receiving core that we talked about, I feel like it kind of all goes away with Neighbors now. It's weird because when he's there, it's like, oh, they have a bunch of weapons, like Wandale, Jalen High might come in, and you're still a veteran Darius Slayton, and now he's gone, and now it's like back to square one before Malik Neighbors, where it was Darius Slayton, Wandale, and Jalen Hyatt as your top 3 wide receivers. And we experienced this before 2 years ago, and now it's just kind of back haunting us again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see them explore the trade market for a veteran, a Keenan Allen type player or someone like that. But I would say I think this is a really bad situation for Dart because you don't get that number one receiver that is so important in all these quarterbacks' development. I will say this. I think they're going to have to involve Wandale more. I mean, he was a non-factor in today's game, and he has to be more involved. He is too talented to be as uninvolved as he was. I think they're going to have to lean on him.
Was it just that the Cowboys are such a bad defense? Like, I'm so confused because he has that absolute banger of a game, and now in back-to-back against the Chiefs and the Chargers, he's just gone. You're right. It's like he's nowhere to be found. And
But he's not involved in the game plan. That's the issue.
Yeah. It's like, listen, I get it. Like Wilson, as we could tell from the Chiefs game, he showed out, and a big reason for that was because the Cowboys defense sucks. But again, I think at the same time he was on. Like those balls to Malik Neighbors, both of them were still great deep throws, right? So I feel like you can't just say, oh my God, the Cowboys defense sucked. But yeah, it's just so weird. And we even started now with Malik Neighbors being out, started seeing Jalen High more. Remember, in the first couple of weeks, we talked about how Bo Collins was coming in for him and said, well, we saw Hyatt today, and he didn't do much. I mean, for Dart, who's trying to throw the ball as the quarterback, it's tough. I mean, he's struggling, and he's, I think, eating a lot of those sacks. I know you said he could have thrown a lot of them away, but, I mean, his receivers just were not getting open in the second half. It was a tough watch. And that's why Scattaboo had 25 carries, because the running game was working, and it was kind of all they had for a good chunk of that second half.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're going to have to figure out how to implement Wandale more. Darius Slayton was relatively involved, but I mean, they might have to look in the trade market, especially if Dable and Joe Shane want to keep their jobs, because that relies on Jaxson Dart looking good, and Jaxson Dart can't look good if he's throwing to guys who are just nowhere near the talent level of the guys that he's facing. So I think that's going to be the issue for the Giants. I don't know who's available on the market. I'm sure Joe Shane's already thinking about it, but I think they do need to add someone, whether that's a guy who's going to be a number one receiver or a guy who can, kind of fit into the room but make some impact plays. Either way, they're going to have to look around.
Well, that's we got a Giants win today, and I guess that's really all you can ask for. I'm not upset about it now. I was upset about the Dart decision. We talked about that in our preview episode to start him in week 4, but it happened. Now it's done, and now it's his time to shine. So kind of just got to let it ride. My friend actually texted me today after the game, and he's like, "You still mad?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, to be truthfully honest, yeah. I mean, I am. I still don't agree with the decision. Just because you won a game doesn't mean it changes my mind. I still don't think that Dart should have started this game, regardless if they won or not. Because who cares if they win or not this year, Alex? It's over. The season's already done, and we knew it coming into this season that they weren't going to be good. So, no, I am still mad. I still don't think Jaxson Dart should have started this game. So that doesn't really make a difference for me. Regardless, now the Giants go and play one of the worst teams in the league, in the New Orleans Saints next season in New Orleans. And sure, go out and win that one. I mean, it's not like the Saints showed much today. They were absolutely pummeled by – that was the Seahawks. They played the Bills today. They played Seahawks in week 1, I think. Or last week. I don't remember. It's been a long season already, and it's only been 4 weeks. But, yeah, they stood a chance for a moment against the Bills today, and then they kind of took over. So why not? Why not us? I guess as a New York Giants fan, I should say it's a very weird statement because they're not going far. But if you made it this far into the episode, we thank you so much for listening and or watching. Alex on Twitter at Anorian23. I'm on Twitter at JoshJola29. And the Giant Take Pod is a social platform, so you can find all of us. So that's the thank you from me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone has a great Victory Monday, and we'll see you next time. Looking forward to the Saints. Peace.